I'm Dave Abrams.
And I'm Kristin Lagana. Welcome to Arundel County Week in Review. In this episode, we'll talk to the Chesapeake Conservancy about reality TV for Osprey, and we'll show you Riviera Beach's Veterans Memorial. But first, making headlines this week. We had yet another first in county history this week. Ask the County Executive made its debut on Facebook. County Executive Steve Schuh fielded questions from citizens online for about 30 minutes on everything from taxes to development and drug treatment. Schuh used a relatively new feature on Facebook that allows you to broadcast live video where viewers can submit questions and comments in real time. Let's take a quick look.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm County Executive Steve Schuh. This is our first ever Facebook town hall. So for the next little while, I'll be making a few remarks and then answering whatever questions you might have. I'm going to look at the big screen over here because the print on Dave's cell phone is so small that I can't read the questions. So I'm going to look over here. Okay, our first question is from Brandon. He's concerned about overdevelopment. Anne Arundel County is blessed and cursed by our proximity to Baltimore and Washington and Annapolis, plus the presence of BWI Thurgood Marshall. As a result of that proximity, we are under immense pressure to develop here in our county. And at the same time, while we encourage development in certain parts of the county, we, the citizens of Anne Arundel County, want to maintain our rural and maritime heritage. And that means we have to be really smart about how we plan land use. I think we're going to have some very exciting legislation to announce this fall that will give us even additional tools to protect our rural and maritime communities. And I'm really excited, and I look forward to sharing that with you when the time comes.
If you missed the broadcast, not to worry. You can scroll down on our Facebook page and watch the whole thing because the video is archived. Everybody had a good time, and the county executive plans to do this again. He said he's going to use a tablet next time because reading the text on the phone was a little tricky. We sure love Facebook Live, right, Dave?
We do. And in case people haven't noticed, we've made a concerted effort across the county in our different agencies to use Facebook Live, and everyone's doing a very good job. Animal control,
DPW, they use it a lot, which is really great.
Economic development. You can watch, if you want to know what pets are available for adoption, you can watch live video and you can interact with the staff at Animal Control.
I don't think I could do that. I think I'd probably go home with 10 dogs in a week.
Right. Well, maybe that's the good thing about it, is that you're still separated by the virtual world.
Right.
So you can't actually take every cat that they have on there.
That's sad. I want that one.
But it was an experience to do it for the first time, for the county executive to do it for the first time. Because when you're using technology like that, there's so many things that can go wrong.
Right.
And one of the first things was, as you mentioned, the phone is this big and it's on your desk on a tripod, and you're talking into the phone, and there's text, coming up as you're talking, and you have to try and read it and talk and look at the camera at the same time. So it takes some. I think he'll get better at it the more we do it. And people seem to enjoy it, that they could participate and they could talk to him one-on-one.
But I do have to say that this is, yes, the first time that there might have been this game at capacity for a live video, but we have played Questions with Steve Schuh before on this show, in fact.
Yes.
As Getting to Know Schuh.
Getting to know Schuh.
Getting to know all the things about Schuh.
It's also
so we've done it.
It's also known as the Kristin Lagana lightning round.
It was a lightning round with Steve Schuh.
But we digress.
Right.
Anyway,
so I just want to make sure that
you can go into the archives to find Kristin and Steve in the lightning round.
Hard questions.
Well. It was good stuff.
Good journalism.
Well, we've told you before about a really cool program to get kids working during the summer months. It's aptly named YouthWorks, and organizers held their annual Leaders Reception to close out the summer at La Fontainebleau in Glen Burnie. The program pairs young people with businesses and organizations for 6 weeks and often subsidizes their pay as an incentive to employers. The kids work in entry-level jobs like summer camps, small businesses, healthcare providers, retail, hospitality, and nonprofits. Here's what participant Taylor Arrington had to say about her experience.
I now have career goals that will afford me a better lifestyle for myself and my son. My experiences this summer helped me realize that I like working especially with younger children, and I want to become a certified daycare lead teacher.
Now, Kristin, we are happy to report that fully 1/4 of these kids were able to get full-time jobs resulting from this
What
program.
an amazing
Pretty
program.
cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So,
And a reception at La Fontaine Blue, not bad.
yeah, the
Not
food's good
bad.
there.
Yeah.
Right? Right outside our shout out, right outside the doors of our studio.
Yeah.
And if you want to find out more, be sure to call Anne Arundel Workforce Development at 410-987-3890. What was your first job, Kristin?
I worked for the Bowie Bay Sox.
Nice.
I worked at the ballpark. I loved it. But it was my first week in, and they promoted me to manager of the sweet shop. So I had to do inventory. I had to do ordering. It was a great first job experience, but I couldn't even drive yet. But I could make a mean helmet sundae, let me tell you.
I bet.
What was your first job?
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
My first job was, well, technically I did babysitting, I did yard work, all that stuff, but my first job, which I had to get a work permit for, which is, I guess, when you're 15,
Yes.
do they still do that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I know I did when I worked at the ballpark.
Yeah, so I got a work permit to work at Heckinger.
Oh, Heckinger.
I worked at Heckinger
Yes.
for like 10 years.
I used to go to
Through
Heckinger's with my dad.
Man, that place was great. I
It
miss
was.
Heckinger.
It was. Well, the county is stepping up its efforts to ward off the Zika virus. A new partnership with the Maryland Department of Agriculture expands the number of communities that can be sprayed for mosquito control. The county will let the state use 5 of its trucks, 3 as fogger spray trucks, and 2 for larviciding to expand coverage and further prevent the spread of disease. No Zika transmission has been identified in Maryland at this time, but it has been detected in Maryland residents who travel to locations where there is ongoing Zika transmission. The virus is carried by mosquitoes who bite infected humans. It can cause birth defects for pregnant women and flu-like symptoms for people who are infected. You can find out more by going to aahealth.com/Zika, or you can search YouTube for our interview with Dr. David Rose from the Health Department.
Well, yeah, we did pretty well. I don't see a major Zika
I've actually
outbreak.
seen sprayers out and about. I don't know about you, but I've been seeing them.
We had like a week of bad mosquitoes this year, and that was pretty much it.
With all the storms we've been having,
I dare
it was
say, I shouldn't even
going to
say
happen,
that out
right?
loud. But it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. How about the humidity of this August? Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I think I'm ready for fall.
I love fall.
Oh,
It's
oh
my
God.
favorite.
Oh God, pumpkin lattes.
Hey.
Oh God,
Halloween.
pumpkin.
Renfest. Bring it on.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and Kristin's going to find out which coffee shop has pumpkin lattes first. And when we return, we'll talk to Joel Dunn, the president and CEO of the Chesapeake Conservancy. Take a look at our community calendar for events happening around town, and we'll be right back.
How long have we been married, dear?
For 76 years.
He was kind and generous to me before we married, and he was kind and generous to me all these years. We decided on Meals on Wheels because I was getting to the point where I couldn't do all the things that I had been able to do. We're the Spans. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
And welcome back. Joining us in the studio this week, we're pleased to have Joel Dunn, President and CEO with Chesapeake Conservancy. Mr. Dunn, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so pleased to be here.
We're excited to have you. I'm ready to learn more about Chesapeake Conservancy. Can you talk to us about the organization, your role as President and CEO?
Sure. So we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and our mission is to connect the public with the Chesapeake Bay, to protect our cultural and natural resources, and to restore our rivers and streams. And we got our start about 9 years ago with the establishment of the Captain John Smith Chesapeake National Historic Trail, which is a water trail that goes up every major river in the Chesapeake Bay. And the idea with the trail was to get people out on the water so they love the Chesapeake as much as I do, or you do.
As much as I do, yes,
and
absolutely.
so they are inspired to vote for the Bay, donate to the Bay, maybe even commit their careers to the Chesapeake Bay, but also to provide a framework for conservation throughout the Chesapeake, for land conservation, to create new parks, and for access sites to the rivers in the Chesapeake Bay. The Chesapeake has very limited public access, and that's a problem because we want to inspire current and future generations to care about that resource,
Of course.
so that we take the steps we need to in order to restore it and protect it. And so public access is a key feature to that inspiration, as well as public parks. And so we have a staff of about 22 people. We're based in Annapolis, Maryland.
Perfect place to be for this.
Yeah, it's great. We're in West Annapolis, just behind the Grawls supermarket there. And we've built a phenomenal team, and we have a great board of directors. And what we've done over the past 9 years is generate federal, state, and private resources to protect our special places in the Chesapeake Bay. So those could be Native American sites, or not places where wildlife thrive, or just places where we need to get a kayak or launch a boat out on a river. And we've had great success with that. We also realized that the data infrastructure for conservation in the Chesapeake Bay needed some additional improvements. And so we got a grant from Intel to develop something called the Conservation Innovation Center. And we've derived new data for the Chesapeake Bay movement, high-resolution land cover data that we've provided as open source data. We're sort of riding the third wave of the internet here and trying to leverage technology, just as the corporate world has for big banking or healthcare. We want to do the same thing for conservation and the environment. And there's no reason why we can't. And so our organization set out to both create lasting parks and open spaces for the public, to create an environment where politicians and individuals support conservation, but also to provide the information base so that we can target limited public and private resources to the most important places to make conservation and restoration progress.
Very exciting. And something I want to dive into right now off the bat is something that I think makes this more tangible for folks at home that might have limited access, but due to your cameras that are north of the county and south of the county, they're getting a good view of these properties. Can you talk a bit about that?
Or technically east.
Or east.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Well, so the internet is wonderful, right? It's this phenomenal new tool which we are still exploring how to use. And so what we decided was we were going to bring the Chesapeake to everybody.
Yes.
And so we set up these high-resolution cameras on an osprey nest out on the eastern shore, right on Kent Island, just east of Arundel County, and then on a peregrine falcon nest on the 33rd floor of the Transamerica building in downtown Baltimore. And these cameras are great because you can get a real-world, instantaneous perspective of what the birds are doing, building their nest, laying their eggs, feeding their chicks, fledging from the nest for the first time. And it's a sort of a reality show, if you will, which is great. But it also gives you an eye into the world of wildlife and what's out there. Once you get out on a kayak, when you could see these osprey live. So we're hoping to inspire people to get out there, inspire them to contribute in meaningful ways, whether that's telling their legislator they love the Chesapeake Bay, or writing a letter, or donating to their local nonprofit. We're hoping that the cameras inspire them to care.
I think it really does a good job of that. Dave actually sent me the link today.
I mean, we didn't spend all day looking at the cameras.
Yeah, absolutely not.
I mean, I can tell you the osprey was around most of the day. The eagle was getting ready for the weekend or something.
I know, yeah, the eagle we didn't see, but I actually had it on. I think it does instill that
and it has
need.
sound.
Yes,
It
it
does.
has sound.
'cause
That's
I heard
purpose.
the osprey chirping. Yes.
Yeah,
A lot-
it's so important to
what?
protect. And I have to say, I usually have Pandora on at the desk, but I had that on and I kept it on. It was very relaxing. It was
It
very
is.
calming. So I appreciate that you sent me that.
It is.
And I'll
That's
keep it
part
on.
of our mission is to connect people with the beauty of the wildlife that we have here. We have some of the most charismatic animals and some of the most beautiful landscapes in the whole world. The Chesapeake is as beautiful as Yosemite or the Grand Canyon, and it deserves that type of recognition and appreciation. And when you can give people that charismatic animal to sort of rally around, it tends to work to bring people together around a cause. The other way we've leveraged the internet is we've done virtual tours of the rivers. So we've
That's neat.
taken 360-degree photos along these entire river corridors so that you can see what it's like to be out on the river along a certain stretch of it. And our latest innovation is to do virtual reality 360-degree tours. So that is
Yes.
a video that you can
Yeah.
pan around in 360 degrees. And we did that at Malos Bay, where we're working to establish the first national marine sanctuary in the Chesapeake Bay and the first one in the last 20 years in this country.
Now, real quick, because I know right now people are clicking like crazy because they want to find the webcams. They don't care about what we're talking about anymore. So what is your website? Tell us that now. ChesapeakeConservancy.org. And on the homepage, there's a picture of an osprey in a circle. You just click on that, it'll bring you right to the osprey. And basically,
Yeah.
you can spend all day on your website doing stuff and looking at stuff in virtual reality and get no work done. That's basically what you can do, right?
Yeah, but then you'll leave inspired to
That's right.
care for the Chesapeake Bay.
Let's go back to Captain John Smith just for
Sure.
a second. I think we should explain, number one, who that is, and number two, it's not a trail like you typically think about a trail. There aren't necessarily signs everywhere. You're not even necessarily walking on land. So tell us about who that is and
Sure.
what the trail looks like.
I'm happy to. So 408 years ago, a man named John Smith came with the English settlers to Jamestown, the first permanent English settlement in North America. Mm-hmm. And they brought a small boat called a shallop, and they used that to explore the Chesapeake Bay, and they mapped it. That map became the basis for the English to come over and colonize North America. So it opened the door to colonization. It also documented Native American communities, towns and cities all around the Chesapeake and the environmental conditions of the Chesapeake Bay. And so John Smith was a very important player in the creation of America as we know it. What we wanted to do with the John Smith Trail was to create a national historic trail that commemorated that chapter of American history, which oftentimes gets lost. People think of Plymouth, Massachusetts, when they think of the beginning of this country. But
And
John,
the Rock, I mean, let's be honest, the Rock's not that exciting. I've been there a couple times. It's in a gate. You're looking down, you're like, oh, it's a rock.
I gotta admit, I think the story of how the Chesapeake Bay was at the root of this country as we know it has not been told enough. And the
Agreed.
John Smith Trail was a framework for raising that to the forefront of the American consciousness. It also is a great way to juxtapose the Chesapeake Bay 400 years ago versus today. How has the bay changed? What has changed in the bay? You know, the oysters have disappeared, virtually disappeared. You know, they're coming back because of a lot of hard work, but there's been a lot of development that's occurred, some of which is great, some of which is not. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of pollution from human development and farming and sewage treatment systems. So, you know, how has the bay changed from when John Smith was here? What do we need to do in order to maintain the ecosystem and the values and the systems that we depend upon for our society here in Anne Arundel County and in the Chesapeake Bay as a whole? So the John Smith Trail was about the educational opportunities, about the history of the bay and the ecosystem and how it's changed, but also about getting people out on the water, to have fun, first of all, to drive tourism, because it's a great, the Chesapeake's a great tourism resource for boating and other recreational activities.
What's a good access point where people would get on the trail? Or
Well,
how would they access it?
Sandy Point State Park is a great place. I mean, most premier place, I guess, in the county that I can think of, with the view of the Bay Bridge. John Smith went right past there, and there are some signs and infrastructure at Sandy Point commemorating the John Smith Trail.
A lot of it's in the water, is that right?
It's usually right on the shore. Oh, the trail itself is all water.
It's all water.
But the National Park Service, which is our partner, which is celebrating its 100th anniversary,
Talking about that, yeah.
has been investing heavily in the John Smith Trail, both in access infrastructure, interpretive materials in terms of signage, online resources. We just co-launched a website called findyourchesapeake.com, which is so cool for finding all the cool things in the Chesapeake. But they've also recently purchased a piece of property called Werowocomico. This is down in Virginia, but we're hoping to have trailheads all along the John Smith Trail that the National Park Service, where they would have a presence.
Do you have any Pokemon on the trail?
No, it's going to be done soon.
Magic carp on the John Smith Trail.
No more Pokemon. No.
It's a no-brainer, I'm sorry.
Well, no, but you bring up a good point about how the current generation uses technology to get outside.
That somehow.
We firmly believe that we need to leverage technology for the benefit of the environment, for recreation, education, and tourism, to advance our collective mission and causes. And so that's why we've built a number of apps. We've worked with NOAA to create a buoy system that maintains information on water quality, wind speed, water temperature. It's called the Chesapeake Bay Interpretive Buoy System. We've built a boater's guide to the Chesapeake Bay, which is an app that will take you on different kayaking trips. For free, by the way. And so we've been trying to leverage, I told you about the virtual tours and the wildlife cameras. So we're really thinking about technology as the next wave of the conservation movement.
It's very exciting stuff. Now, one more time, where's the best place for folks to visit online? Is it a Facebook page, a website, where they can get information about the cameras, of course, the apps, and anything that's going on with Chesapeake Conservancy?
Sure. So our website is chesapeakeconservancy.org. We also have a Facebook page, and particularly for our wildlife enthusiasts, we often will provide an update, say when the falcons have laid eggs. Or
the eagle's back.
So Kristin can do some work, and then she'll get a notification.
That's right.
Very
It's also a
exciting.
great way to find out about important conservation initiatives that we're working on, like Program Open Space. In the state of Maryland, last year we worked with the governor and the state legislature and a number of conservation organizations to revitalize Program Open Space, which is used to make new parks in the state of Maryland and in counties. The money is split between counties and state government. And we've been at the epicenter of trying to restore and revitalize that program. So our Facebook page is a great place for people to know how they can engage, how they can get involved, keep up to date on what's happening in the Chesapeake Bay, and celebrate the Chesapeake, and particularly in Anne Arundel County, as a wonderful resource.
Great.
Very exciting stuff. Well, folks, this is your home. Chesapeake is our greatest resource. Get yourself educated. Make sure you're out there supporting. Check out ChesapeakeConservancy.org. Joel, thank you so much for joining us in the studio this week.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, anytime. We'll be right back with more Week in Review right after this. Don't go anywhere.
I've always wanted to go to college. That helps you evolve as a person. I just feel like that's my destiny. My name is Queen, and I am your dividend.
Welcome back. Riviera Beach has put together a very special memorial for veterans. Sara Gannon visited there to talk to the people who made it happen. Sara?
Thanks, Kristin and Dave. Today I'm here at the Riviera Beach Memorial Park, and I'm here with Karen and Susan, and we're going to talk about an event that's coming up here on September 17th to commemorate the memorial and all those heroes that we have in the community. And thank you, Karen and Susan, for meeting with me today. Could you tell us about how this all started and what the festivities are going to be like on the 17th?
Well, the project actually started with Eric Etzel. He was a career Navy gentleman that lived in our beach, and Michael Baccareno. And they got to talking and decided that this would be something that would be good for the community, bring the community together. So they brought it to a RCIA meeting, and it was, the response was just terrific, and everybody was in approval for doing it. And it didn't take long for the ball to start rolling. And like I always say is with community associations, if you want to do a project, you can start it, you can talk about it, and 6 years later, you're still talking about it. This started, and within 1 year, we had this stone and these bricks were being laid.
Very good. How can you purchase a brick?
There is a website, a memorial project website. It is on the Riviera Beach website. You can get it. It's $100 for a brick, and if you were a business and would like to honor those in your neighborhood or your community, it's $200. Okay. All the money, 100% of the money goes back into the memorial. It's not used for anything else. And it is, again, it is for improving where we can. It is for anything else that's necessary to keep this going, to keep it protected, and to keep it looking the way it does.
Now, I know the 17th you have the festivities coming. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do? I know you have a parade, and share the information about the festivities if you don't mind.
In the morning, those that are in the parade, all the vehicles will be meeting at St. Jane by their field. And the parade is about a mile, so it only takes about 35-40 minutes to come back in. So once they come into the park, we're going to have the fire truck set up, and there's going to be a fire prevention trailer, those kinds of things. We'll have the food set up and all that, chairs. And once everybody is set, the speaking will begin. We'll start with an invocation from Reverend Zahn, who is the pastor of Jenkins Memorial. Then we start with the speakers. This year we'll have Chief Graves from Anne Arundel County Fire Department. We'll have someone from Millersville Police Department, and there will be someone from DNR to speak. As many people as we can get that represent those that support us from a day in and day out basis. Once the speaking is done, there will be a flag ceremony. We're getting together now an honor guard that will come from our POW flag, and they'll walk up to here. We'll have the flag taken down, and what we've been doing the last 2 years is then we present that flag to someone who's been very instrumental. Our first year was Captain Tui from the Anne Arundel County Police, who was just extremely instrumental in helping us get what we needed, parade permits and all that kind of stuff. So, and then once all that is done, we'll play taps. We're actually going to have a duet of singers that have been singing around the county. They sang at the Bowie Bay Sox game, and they will be singing the Star Spangled Banner. I know you didn't know that. But they came to us. So it's, word is spreading. So we didn't even have to go solicit them. They came to us and said, we would like to do this. Trying to get the little Girl Scouts to, sing, that kind of stuff. So not everything is written in stone, but our speakers are set up. The parade is set up, and like I said, then it's a time for community to get together, neighbors to speak who don't know each other. Sure. You get a lot of the older residents, and they're more than willing to talk about who's here and who they're trying to honor. So it's a very somber but celebratory situation. People just really seem to like it. So, every year we try to get different groups and more people to participate, Patriot Guards, anybody that we can get to make it as big an event as we can.
Really good. I appreciate what you do here. As I had shared before, I had my grandfather and grandmother lived here in Riviera Beach, and I was very close to them, and my grandfather served in World War II, and then worked at the shipyard at the Coast Guard Yard. So I have a little bit of a special place in my heart for you all doing this, really and truly. And my family, they don't know about this yet, and they will know about this. But yes, I appreciate that. Can you tell them where you can find the information about the event if they would like to share it?
Again, that will be on the project, Riviera Beach Memorial Project website, as well as Riviera Beach also has a Facebook page, and it will be on that also.
That's great.
In fact, I actually think it's on there right now.
It's right on. Okay, good. Mm-hmm. And I was aware that Channel 2 News was out here, unfortunately, for some vandalism, and I understand that you all are taking care of that now, and I send my apologies, and I hope you get them. I hope you get them, and I hope that the police department's going to help and get that resolved for you.
We hope so.
And way to stay strong, and good luck on the 17th, and thanks again for all that you do. Thank you, and back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Sarah. We should also mention that there has been vandalism to the memorial recently, so they could really use some help from the community.
Yeah, that's my hood. Come on, people.
Maybe you should lead the effort.
Darn kids.
All right, so we really need to mention the biggest Anne Arundel County story, which
That's right.
we haven't gotten to. Matt Centrowitz, what's up?
Boom, Broadneck. What's up?
Gold, baby.
That's right.
Gold.
I mean, we didn't call that.
Yes, we did.
Not really.
And we
didn't call
said that you have to come on Week in Review.
That we did say.
We did say.
Matt, if you hear
Matt
us,
Centrowitz.
we think you're great.
Gold winner
The
of the
people of Anne Arundel
1500
County.
meter. First male for United States since 1908. Boom.
Pretty impressive.
Boom.
Very impressive. Nobody thought, I mean, that was one of the most surprising outcomes of the Olympics.
Oh, no, it wasn't. I knew
It
he
didn't
had
get
it.
its due either. He didn't get his due. It wasn't, Usain Bolt. I mean,
Well, I was very excited about it.
Usain
and-
Bolt spent the whole time walking around the stadium waving. It was like,
He has every right to, Dave.
It was a little nauseating. I'm
Whatever.
sorry.
All in all, I have
Matt
to say,
Centrowitz just got it done, and that's it.
it
got
was
it done.
a great Olympics, and U.S. brought home the gold, baby. I
Yes, we
mean,
did.
look at that medal count. So, what was your favorite event?
Oh my gosh.
Was it all of the Michael Phelps? Were you into the swimming the most?
I gotta say, I still think that first Tuesday night, was the best part of the Olympics. I mean, the U.S. was just rolling.
We were dominating.
It had Phelps, it had the gymnastics, it
Yep.
had, all that stuff. USA basketball won the gold, but it was boring because they won every game by 30. There was so much that I liked about it. It's hard to
Didn't
pick
have a
one
favorite.
thing.
I
don't
really
know.
liked the steeplechase event for women. I really thought that was a great event.
That's an
It's just-
odd one, Kristin.
I don't know. It's just
Did you watch
difficult.
synchronized-
Jumping those hurdles,
Did you
running
watch
the water.
synchronized swimming?
I did watch synchronized swimming.
You did? Did you like it?
I did like that too.
And how about the diver who did the face flop?
The guy that ran up and security was after him?
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, or are you talking about
I'm
the
talking
Philippine
about the guy
diver?
who did the flip and
then landed on his
face.
Oh, you should
face
Google the
plant.
guy that basically broke in and ran up the steps and did a cannonball.
Oh, you can't
Everybody's
do that.
hero, yeah.
You do that in an Orioles game, they're gonna tackle you.
Yeah,
You're gonna be in a whirl of hurt.
Oh yeah, yeah. Been to it.
Oh yeah.
I
See
went
what
to
you did there?
I went to the
yeah.
Orioles game Saturday night.
Yeah?
Got my Chris Davis and Samson, his bulldog bobblehead. They were both wearing capes. Bobble. It was a horrible game.
Nice.
But man, against the Nats, ha!
I know. The Nats
Waiting
are
for that,
in a
huh?
bit of a slump. You know how that is to be in a slump.
All right.
It happens sometimes.
I shouldn't be so chatty
They'll be
about
back.
it. I know.
The Nats. I don't know, man. It's when you grow up in the DC suburbs and you have DC, you root for DC teams, which I'm not including the Orioles and the Ravens. It's just a hard life.
I know.
Strasburg is down for the count now.
So hard for you. My Ravens
Bryce
been
Harper
doing pretty
can't
good
get his
too.
act together.
Preseason Ravens. What?
Yeah, you ready for football?
What?
Ready for some football?
I am ready for football because again, it means fall. Pumpkins and hay and pumpkin spice and coffee and bonfires and Renfest and Halloween and the smell.
Low
of
electricity
leaves.
bills.
No electricity bills. Vicky's wedding.
Which is like turning into like the year of Vicky's wedding now.
It's a big event.
Every week we're talking about Vicky Lagana's wedding. And
I think it's like
we wish her the best.
LaDuke watch. That's the hashtag, LaDuke.
Oh, is that
Lagana and
There you go,
Duke.
folks. Hashtag trending LaDuke.
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 We're on LaDuke.
L-E or L-A?
L.A., of course.
LaDuke.
LaDuke.
Well, that wraps up this week's edition of Week in Review. You can watch this episode and archive episodes online anytime on YouTube or Facebook by simply searching Arundel TV. Please tune in again next week for more highlights and news from around the county, and we will see you next time.